I offer my most humble pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Dearest Swami and all of Swami's dear children. I thought of speaking today on some of the humorous incidents that happened in Swami's presence, and therefore I thought I should also look little funny, and that's the excuse I think I'm giving for a messed up haircut during the lockdown. Though there are many funny episodes that happen in Swami's presence, there are many jokes that Swami himself plays. Each of those episodes, whether it's a joke being played by Swami or whether it's a humorous incident in Swami's presence, all of them have wonderful meaning. There is a gyan in that as well. But the thing is, at that point in time, we just enjoy the fun. Later when we look back, you get so emotional thinking of so many messages hidden in that. Like they say, we look back at the times we laughed and we cry now. We look back at the times we had cried and we laugh now. That's how it is. So in Trai Vrindavan, it so happened that it was a Trai session. A Trai session is when Swami calls all the students into his own residence in Vrindavan, and anything can happen there. Swami will speak, or he'll make somebody speak, he'll materialize something, many things will happen. That day, Swami was seated on the jhula and he had collected letters from some of the students and he was reading the letters. Now in different letters, what we do, we usually ask only something from Swami, either for health or for exam or marks or something like that. We'll keep asking. He was reading all that. Then he took the letter of one primary school boy. He was, I think, in first standard at that time, or maybe second standard. Swami asked him for the letter. Swami took it, he opened it, and he began to read that letter. And as he read that letter, Swami became so happy. A smile came on his face. So much pride was there. And we were all wondering, what is there in that letter that Swami is becoming so happy? And then completing the letter, Swami looked at everyone. Said, see, I will read out what this boy has written. And Swami began to read out. And I don't remember exactly the words that Swami said, but the letter was something like, Swami, I don't want anything. I want to be at your lotus feet forever. I only want your love. I want only Swami. Swami is my mother. Swami is my father. Like this, full. Typical primary school child. And Swami said, look, how pure this boy's prayers are. And I was sitting there in some 10th or 11th line. And I was thinking, Swami, this is not his letter. This is either his teacher's letter or his father's letter. It is. They have dictated and he has written. This is what I am thinking. And Swami said, see, all of you, all asking everything. I want this, I want this, I want this. Nobody is asking for Swami. This boy is asking for Swami. And Swami told, boy, get up. When that boy stood up, he was as tall as how much we are sitting down. Like that chota fellow he was. Swami said, what is your name? Sai Shri Ram, he told. In his high pitch voice, like one little mouse it was. Sai Shri Ram. Swami said, very good, come. Swami called. And then Swami lovingly put his hand on his shoulder. And Swami asked, what do you want? Swami asked. No, it looked almost like Lord Mahavishnu with Dhruva, asking him, what do you want, child? But this child, he said, Swami, I've got cough and cold, make it all right. And I could not control my laughter. Everybody just suppressed his smile, and like Swami, this was like a joke on Swami. Swami did not know what to do. Then Swami quickly touched his throat. Swami said, yeah, it will all be fine. Don't worry. Patted him and sent him back. At that time I was thinking, see Swami, you thought that he is doing great prayer. He is asking for cough and cold only. Personally, I thought that, hey Swami, you got defeated. You tried to present somebody as an example and they only failed. But today when I look back at that incident, I get very emotional also, because I think with each one of us, that's what happens. When we listen to Swami speaking about his students, his children in discourses, It is with so much pride. Swami tells, my children are Bangaram. They are gold. And then I look at what I am doing. When Swami says that this boy's prayers are so noble, it is to set an example for us. It is to show that even if you do little, you may not even do what you are telling, but even if you tell good, I will appreciate you. That much loving our Lord is. How many times we also know that Swami is God, He is the ultimate, He can give us the greatest. And still, when we get chance, what do we ask from Him? For 10th standard board exam results? For entrance exam in some college? For some good job? For some money? For some friendship? And we laugh at others who do that. I laughed at that little child. I'm as bad as that little child. Worse. Worse in fact, because that little child has not yet grown. That was one incident that had happened. Another incident I remember is there was this, these are all, as I said, incidents of humor that happened in Swami's presence. There was this speaker. He was from the military, he was from the army. And he wanted to share his experience of how when he was battling in a war, Swami saved him. And he was narrating, he said, and we went there and the Pakistani bullets were flying everywhere, left, right, everywhere. I just folded my hand and said, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. And by Bhagwan's grace, my ADC got shot and I got saved. Similar, I'm reminded of another incident. Another speaker was talking about floods that came in their region. And he was saying, there were heavy rains. And we didn't know what to do. The floods were coming from everywhere. And so we all sat at home and we did bhajan. And by Swami's grace, all the tree fell on the neighbor's house. In order to show Swami's grace on you, you're showing him like some, oh, I say you did bhajan, no? So yeah, your house will be safe. You didn't do bhajan, no? I'll throw trees on your house. We make Swami look like some very partial God. The problem is, Swami is like a mirror. He is a reflection of what we think, That's why different people have different opinions about Swami. The reason why we make a mistake and narrate such incidents is because, believe it or not, our happiness depends on comparing with others. Just think of this. Suppose one earthquake comes and when you get up in the morning, just imagine all the houses in your locality have collapsed. Your house, only one wall has collapsed. Will you cry or will you be grateful to God? You will be grateful. Abba, thank you. Everybody's house fell. Nothing, only mine, one wall fell. I'll repair it off, no problem. But every morning, today morning when you woke up, tomorrow morning when you'll wake up, your house is standing nicely and firm. Do we thank Swami? Thank you Swami, all my 4 walls are standing. No! If others' house falls, then I will tell Abba, thank you. If all around me people are dying, then Amma, thank you, I'm not dying. Everybody got COVID, I didn't get Swami, your grace. But every day of health do we express? This shows our weakness. That's why I said all these humorous incidents show our own weakness. We, in order to feel happy, in order to feel blessed, we want to compare. Just imagine, somebody comes and tells, congratulations, you won a lottery. Yes, 10,000 rupees, $10,000. Wow, super God, Swami, thank all God's grace, very, very happy. Hey, your friend, those 3 other friends, they also won lottery, $1 lakh. Gone. Happiness gone. As long as only I get, it's nice. Even in darshan line, this will happen, Someday, Swami won't take anybody's letter. He won't take at all. Don't know why, but there are days like that when Swami will just walk in the darshan, won't take anybody's letter. On that day, if he takes my letter, I'll feel super. On some other day, Swami will be taking everybody's letter. He'll take my letter also. What is he took everybody's letter? What is there in that? It is not special. Because our happiness is compared. See, I should feel same happiness, right? Whether Swami takes others' letter or not, he took my letter, I should be happy. But no, I will feel more happy if Swami takes only mine and doesn't take others. If he takes my letter, happy. Doesn't take others, more happy. No? That is how we do. Swami himself would give an example. There is one Tyagaraja Kriti, there is one Tyagaraja song. The song is Na Pogalakunte Nikemi Rama. Means, if I don't sing your glory, what do you lose, Rama? It's like, Rama, I won't sing your song. Oh, Rama, what does it bother? What does it matter to Rama? If you sing, you are benefited. If you don't sing, you lose. So there's one song like this by Tyagaraja. Na Pogalakunte Nikemi Rama. And Swami would often say that there were these singers who were not Telugu speaking. And while singing, they would sing it as Na Pakoda Tinte Nikemi Rama. Means, if I eat pakoda, what is happening to you, man, Rama? What's your problem, Rama, if I eat pakodas? And this they have sung in Swami's presence. Swami would say and he would laugh, he would get tears in his eyes. There was one more, one more speaker during Dasara. He was giving a talk on Devi and Mahishasura Mardini, the Devi, that form of the Devi. So he spoke about that whole incident, Mahishasura Mardini, Aigiri Nandini. And then he said, and today we are in the presence of the Sai Mahishasura Mardini. He took a gap for swallowing his saliva between Mahishasura and Mardini. Instead of calling Swami as Sai Mahishasura Mardini, he said Sai Mahishasura Mardini. For 1 second, always shocked. Then Swami is such a sport. Swami also smiled. Everybody smiled. But one more incident or episode this was to remind us how important it is when we speak, where we take a pause. But all these becomes especially important when we are learning to chant Vedas. There's an episode from the Puranas that is often narrated. This is Rishi Twashta created a demon, Vritrasura, I think, who would go and destroy Indra. He wanted to destroy Indra. So it is said that he had to chant a mantra when he was doing the yagna. Indra Shatru Vardhasva. That is how he had to chant the mantra. But apparently, no, I don't know whether I chanted exactly, but something like that he had to chant. But he chanted it reverse. He put emphasis on Indra. He made Indra Shatru Vardhasva. He changed it off. Where it had to be high, he made it low. Where it had to be low, he made it high. And so instead of meaning, may a being be created who will destroy Indra, the meaning now became, may a being be created who will be destroyed by Indra. With just that intonation. And all these show us the importance of not just the words, our intonation as well. Many times we'll see, like Sai Ram. Sai Ram is a wonderful word. It is a Lord's name. But how we give intonation? Sai Ram, Sai Ram. There is no love in that, Sai Ram. When you get a Sai Ram, hey, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. That sounds almost like a dog bark. We use it to shout also at people. Different, 100 ways Sai Ram is used. You can use it to express anger, you can use it to express. So it's not just about the word. You only see. So therefore Swami would say there is only one language, the language of the heart, because that is what has to come out. When I go to somebody and say, can you please give me that? Hey, can you please give me that? Please, please. I'm telling the correct words. Please only. But that is sounding like you're abusing me. Correct. And then another two incidents. These are personal incidents that I want to narrate. These show the importance of being in the present. So whenever I think about the future or think of the past, I get distracted. Just think in your own life as well. Whenever you are feeling sad or angry or irritated, it's because you are either thinking of the past or you are thinking of the future, not of the present. So when in 2008, Swami had taken a few of us to Hadshi, and when we came back from Hadshi, on the way back in the flight, Swami asked me about my parents And I said, Swami, my father is retiring and he's going to come to their parents are going to shift to Puttaparthi. And I said, Swami, please speak to them. And Swami nodded. And I thought that Swami will give possibly an interview with my parents. This was in my mind. So whenever I go for darshan, I'm going on looking, I'll sit straight. I'll try to, show my face to Swami. I'll put big vibhuti bottu, comb my hair neatly, hoping that Swami will look at my face and ask something and I can do Swami's parents interview. Because in my mind, it's only about interview, to get interview. So Swami that day, I was sitting in the bhajan hall. Swami came before the bhajan started into the bhajan hall. And there was Veda chanting going on. So Swami asked me something. I couldn't hear him fully, but I could lip read. For example, it was like, and I assumed Swami said, Amma Nana. So I got up very happily. Swami said, Vachara? I said, Haan Swami, Vacharu. Means he asked, have they come? I said, yes Swami, they have come. Amma Nana, for those who don't know Telugu, means mother and father. Then Swami said, really? They have come? Yes Swami, they have come. Shall I call them? Swami said, no, don't. Then Swami went ahead and asked another teacher also the same thing. And he said, no Swami, they have not come. I thought maybe that teacher's father and mother have not come. My father and mother have come. And then Swami went little more ahead. Then this teacher looked at me and said, they have not come, they will be coming tomorrow. I said, sir, my father and mother are here only. He said, not your father and mother. Swami is asking Brahmana. That was Dasara time and the priests. Swami was asking about Brahmana. I thought Amma Nana because Brahmana and Amma Nana both are having Ma and Na. Okay. Because I am going on living in my interview thing, I couldn't listen to what Swami said. Then Swami turned around and came back. And he came near me and said, they have not come. I said, yes Swami, Brahmana have not come. Swami said, then what you said they have come? I said, Swami, I thought Amma Nana. Swami just said, sit down and went. And like this, not once, multiple times it has happened. When sitting in Swami's presence, when I am thinking of the past or the future, even when God talks to me, even when Swami talks, I mess it up. I'll tell you one more incident. One day somebody came and gave me one photograph of Swami, one pocket photograph. Now, I myself have photographed Swami and I've got so many photographs of Swami. And for every event, because at that point in time I was staying in Prashant Nilayam, for any event, every festival, you'll keep getting photos. So many photos, don't know what to do with so many photos. So as a policy, I used to not take anybody. I used to tell, oh, thank you so much, but sir, you only please keep it. Or madam, you only keep it, please. Yeah, enough. I should not receive. But that one day, that photo that person gave me was very nice. Swami's photo, I mean, all of Swami's photos are nice. My mind liked that photo. And it was also laminated in plastic. Means, I often have this problem, I will not take out things from the pocket. A keychain or what all I have put for wash, they'll get washed and come. Once my speech copy also. It went in the pocket, went for wash. The paper became white and the speech came on my pocket fully, like got printed. All these things have happened. So this, I thought this photo nice because so many Swami's photos have got damaged like this by going into the washing machine. I thought if this goes into washing machine also nothing will happen. This is like water can't wet it, fire can't burn it. Like this photo is like the Atma it is. Like nothing will happen to it. So I took that photo and I kept it in my pocket. Now in Darshan, I happened to get the front line. We're sitting and Veda chanting was going on. Swami was also seated there. And Swami suddenly turned to me and spoke. And I could hear Swami telling photo. I became so happy. Wow, like imagine just now somebody has given me photo, Swami is telling. Swami again asked, is there photo? Then I said, yes Swami, it is there, here only. Then Swami said, look at this fellow, and everybody laughed. I didn't understand what happened. I was very thrilled that Swami in his omniscience is telling me that you took the photo not today. I said, yes Swami, today I finally took the photo, it is there in my pocket here only. But that is because I was so engrossed in my own thoughts of this that had happened just before darshan that I was not paying attention. Swami had actually asked me, do you have your wife's photo? I said, yes, Swami. I was not married at that time. I said, yes, Swami. Swami said, where is it? I said, Swami, here, I've got it. And then everybody had laughed. So this is what happens when we are lost in either the past or the future. We are not able to focus on the present. Focusing on the present is the best way to get everything right. Whether it is studies, just think of it. When we are studying, how many times instead of studies we think of so many things? I used to notice it happens to me during exam time. During exam time only, when you're sitting, you'll watch and think, how beautiful this sunrise is, You'll feel like writing a poem on the sunrise. And you feel how nice it'll be if I can take a walk in this morning. This exam, let this exam get over. I will go and take so many hundreds of morning walks. But once the exam gets over till 9 o'clock, I'll be sleeping. No morning walks, no sunrise, all that poetry won't come. It's all distraction because we just don't want to live in the present. Always we are thinking of the future or the past, or the future or the past. Never do we live in the present. And Swami says when you are in the present, when you are able to stay in the present, you will do everything perfectly, you will be peaceful, you will be happy as well. Like in everything about Swami, whether it is humor or seriousness, whether he makes you laugh or whether he makes you cry, whether he cracks a joke or he tells a story, in everything there's a message. Let's try to grab that message and improve our lives. Thank you.